Um, the recording is now in progress. So welcome to what is the first of webinar that we've done for actually a little while. We did them all the way through lockdown and beyond, and then as we got busy in the shop, we stopped doing them. But I'm hoping to bring back more webinars. So if people have got ideas on speakers that they would like to hear from and topics I'd like to cover, then please do let me know because I want to be able to bring some of the people that I see speak at lots of events to use that they're useful for you to grow your brand, or if you're working with brands to support them. Just a reminder about what Club Soda is. So we're the brand and category advocates for low, no, and mid strength. For want of a better word, we are sort of the unofficial trade body for low and no. And as you may know, there's going to be a big lobbying year this year as the government looks to change the descriptors. It's talking about age gating and has also offered to support the sector more. So we're going to be doing some work on building a manifesto for the sector, amongst other things. So we've brought back our brand membership, which some of you with slightly longer memories will remember that we had before we opened the shop, in order to fund some of that alongside other discounts for you all for trade shows and summits, and to be in our online shop and to be introduced to suppliers and basically have access to my time, of which I'm very good at giving quite freely, but I need to be able to make sure that I've got time for everybody. So if you want to find out more about brand membership, you can do that here. And also, if any of you are working with drinks, then we still have our Academy program. You may have seen that we've been running this now for 2 years. It's had all the buyers for the major supermarkets on it. These are our dates for 2026. If you're a brand member and want to come on it, you can have half price to send a member staff on as an induction. A lot of you are recruiting. This is a 2-day deep dive into low and no and mid-strength drinks that takes you through everything from production methods, data, legal, and all of those things. So have a little look if you're interested. We're doing our first one in Manchester this year. And then finally, if you are around in April to come to our first summit in Amsterdam, we've done a summit in London twice now where we have a load of topics to help you grow your brand, help us grow the category together, but also give you an opportunity to meet buyers. So our first one's in Amsterdam on the 21st of April. And the day before, we've got a load of meetings with distributors and wholesalers and buyers from across Europe, but particularly those that work in the Netherlands. So those buyers meetings open today or tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. We're opening them tomorrow. So yeah, so do book for that if you want to, and you can see more details on our website. So that's it from me. I'm going to stop sharing my slides to give the guys from Portman Group a chance to upload theirs. But I've got Jacob and David here from the Portman Group. The Portman Group will tell you a little bit more about themselves as part of the presentation, but they have been collecting data every January for at least the last 3 years, if not longer, actually, on low and no. And so I thought sometimes it all gets caught up for you guys in a very busy January and you don't get to see the data because January is such a blur. So I thought it'd be great for us to be able to get Portman Group to present the data to you and also give you a chance to ask them some questions. So I'm going to hand over to Jacob and David.
Thanks. Hi. So I'm David. I'm the External Affairs Director here at the Portman Group, and Jacob's I Public Affairs Executive. So I've been with the Portman Group for 7 years now and been leading on this poll for 7 years as well. And Jacob has conducted and led the most recent one, so I'll let him take you through it. But just a little background about who we are and why we've been doing this. So we're the alcohol marketing regulator and social responsibility body. Our code of practice applies to all products above 0.5%. However, we are a huge interest in the low and no space, both in terms of ensuring responsible marketing and promotion of these products, and we produce freely available guidance for all producers in this area. But also, we're very interested in them as a key tool for moderation and responsible drinking. And this is sort of why 8 years ago we started exploring these these products, consumer relationship to these products, and feeding into government policy in this area. As Laura ably outlined, it's a very active space for things like product description and sales, and we'll be very active in this across the next 12 months as well. But without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Jacob, who can really tell you about the results this year, and I will be able to pop in terms of the longer trends and some of the context as well, as I've been doing this for the last 7 years as well. So, Jacob, do you want to take it away?
Thanks, David, and thank you again, Laura, for hosting us. This is a good opportunity to highlight our low and no statistics, which, as David said, we've now been doing for 8 years. So this survey was conducted towards the end of November 2025 and covers over 2,000 UK adults, providing a representative sample of the UK adult population. In terms of the key findings, we found that over half of UK adults had at least tried low and no alcohol products, and 67% of alcohol drinkers have now tried these products, compared to 33% of non-drinkers, highlighting how it's mainly alcohol drinkers who consume these products. We also found that 36% of UK drinkers now semi-regularly consume low and no alcohol, and almost a quarter, 24% of current alcohol drinkers who have tried low and no products said that it helped them to reduce their weekly alcohol consumption. This is up from 21% just 3 years prior in
Sorry, just bear with me
2022.
one sec, Joe. Just
No worries.
one quick sec.
And in terms of why people drink these products, for the 8th year in a row, the most cited specific reason for this was to be able to drive home from events, and also to avoid drinking excessively at social events, thus reinforcing existing responsible drinking behaviours. Other key findings include that pubs and bars remain the most popular location for low and no products to be drunk, cited by over a third of respondents. And in terms of encouraging and incentivizing greater uptake, UK adults believe that providing greater availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces like cinemas, as well as the use of price promotion, would further encourage low and no uptake. This year, we also asked UK adults the issues they're most concerned about teenagers in terms of their consumption of them, and the most popular were drug use at 64%, vaping also at 64%, followed by social media, and then alcohol use, with low and no raised by just 9% of UK adults. And this was similar for parents as well. In addition to this, we also surveyed for the first time on at what age people tried low and no for the first time, with the vast majority being aged 18 plus, and just 7% are being under 18, with of that being 4% 16 to 17-year-olds and 3% aged 15 and under. So these are the key headline findings. I'm now going to do a deeper dive into more of the figures behind this.
Just before you do, could you just, I think there's a different view you can do, which is presenter view, which might bring up the slides a bit bigger.
Yeah.
That's
Is that better?
I think some people are on phones, so thank you.
Okay, there we go. So yes, a deeper dive into the stats behind this. So the common perception with low and no alcohol drinks is that they are consumed by Gen Z, so those aged under 30 and often under 25 as well. And while this continues to be the group with the most common use of low and no products, older generations are not far behind. So in total, 65% of respondents. Yes, so sorry, so I'm going to talk through the alcohol consumption first and then go into low and no just to differentiate. So 65% of respondents said they drank alcoholic drinks, and 33% said they did not. And the largest proportion of non-drinkers were amongst those aged 18 to 24, with 43% reportedly non-drinkers versus 56% who said they are alcohol drinkers. And this is a significant increase compared to 25% in 2020. This year's survey also broke down alcohol consumption by units for the first time, and the results showed that 86% either did not drink or drank within the CMO guidelines. And of this, those aged 45 were more likely to drink at heavier rates compared to younger generations, with just 6.5% of under 45s. And those aged 18 to 24-year-old were least likely to drink above CMO guidelines. So low, and in addition to this, low unit consumption, so drinking at 5 units or less was also a theme. So amongst those 35 to 44-year-olds who drink alcohol, close to half, 44% drank 5 units or less. And this compares to an average of 35% across all UK adults, with the next highest being those aged 18 to 34 with 38%. So in terms of why that is relevant, it's because alcohol drinkers remain the core consumers of low and no products, with 55% of UK adults surveyed having at least tried low and no products, and 28% of all UK adults either drinking these products occasionally or regularly. In addition to this, use of low and no products continues to be driven overwhelmingly by current adult drinkers, as I've said, with 67% having at least tried these products, double when compared to non-drinkers. And in terms of that semi-regular low and no alcohol consumption, which is at over a third now, 36%, 6% are regular drinkers of alcohol alternatives, whilst 30% are occasional drinkers of these products, whilst a further 20% drink them rarely. It's interesting to note that whilst regular consumption has halved this year compared to last year, this may well be an in-year anomaly, and occasional consumption, however, continues to rise, and it's gone up from 15% in 2020 to 30% now. So this has resulted in the overall semi-regular low and no alcohol consumption falling slightly compared to last year. However, the longer term trend, as you can see from the graph, is upwards. With a 44% rise in semi-regular use since 2020, which includes a 76% increase in occasional use by UK drinkers. Despite this, there's still 30% of UK adult drinkers, adult alcohol drinkers to clarify, who are yet to try low and no alcohol alternatives. And it's also interesting that the low and no semi-regular consumption is also similar between male and female, with men at 38% and women at 34%. And then in terms of the age breakdown of semi-regular low and no alcohol use, it continues to be the most common amongst 18 to 24-year-olds, but other age categories, older age categories, are not far behind. So 18 to 24-year-olds are at 42%, followed by 25 to 34-year-olds at 40%, and 35 to 44-year-olds at 39%. And then we jump to 55 plus, drinking at 35%. So amongst those age categories, there's not too much difference. However, when you look at the 45 to 54-year-old category, it's currently less than a third at 30%, showing a significant drop-off in consumption amongst this age group. So in terms of the age, the age changes over the last 5 years, the largest increase, perhaps unsurprisingly, has come amongst those aged 18 to 24, who experienced an 86% rise in low and no alcohol consumption, followed by the over 55s, who have increased their low and no consumption by almost half at 46%, with the 25 to 34-year-olds and 35 to 44-year-olds at or just below 40%. Again, given their low and no consumption is the lowest of any age group, it is perhaps unsurprising that the 45 to 54-year-old age category has seen the lowest increase in low and no uptake in the last 5 years at 25%. This also highlights how low and no alcohol alternatives are not just a flash in the pan fads amongst younger generations, and they can potentially further public health moderation goals across all age groups. So in terms of low and no as an important tool for moderation, as I was saying, it's important to note that there's been a consistent long-term pattern of moderate drinking by the majority of people in the UK, with government data showing that close to 80% of adults either not drinking or drinking within the CMO's low-risk guidance of 14 units or less. And this has risen from 74% in 2012. In addition to this, almost a quarter of current drinkers report that their typical weekly alcohol consumption has fallen in our latest survey. And this is the same as the figure we had in last year in 2024, and higher than the figure of 21% during the previous wording of the question in 2022. In addition to this, 64% of respondents have said that their weekly alcohol consumption has remained the same, and this is slightly higher than the figure of 62% in 2024 and 2023, and is between the figures in previous years before that as well. It's also interesting to note how figures for men and women are the same in this, or similar, in this area, of 22% of men and 25% of women decreasing their alcohol consumption as a result of low and no alternatives, marking a subtle shift from the previous year, when men were slightly more likely than women to report a decrease in alcohol consumption as a result of low and no. And in terms of the difference amongst different age brackets, so those reporting a fall in their low and no consumption ranged from 35% for the 18 to 24-year-olds to 18% of 25 to 44-year-olds. And it's also promising that there's a significant fall in alcohol consumption amongst older drinkers, including a quarter of 45 to 54-year-olds and 26% of those aged 55 plus. The reason I say this is potentially significant is that historically these older age groups have typically reported heavier drinking and are therefore likely to benefit the most from moderation, of which low and no is a contributing factor. It's also encouraging to see that 18% of those drinking just above the CMO guidelines of more than between 14 and 21 units have reduced their alcohol consumption as a result of low and no alternatives, which is promising to see as they're helping to bring their moderation, bring their alcohol drinking into more moderate levels. So in terms of the drivers of low and no alcohol consumption, as I mentioned at the start, being able to drive home from social events is the most common reason people cite drinking low and no alcohol alternatives at 35%, with socializing without excessive drinking at 24%. It's the 8th year in a row that being able to drive home from social events has been the most cited reason. And these two measures together reinforce a consistent preference amongst low and no drinkers for using these products to aid responsible drinking behaviour and avoid harms such as drink driving and binge drinking. It's also positive to see that UK consumers are becoming increasingly health conscious, with 26% of low and no drinkers citing health and medical concerns as a key reason for choosing alcohol alternatives. This is an increase compared to 22% in 2021 when we first started collating these responses. And of these health concerns, 19% cited avoiding short-term physical health problems such as hangovers and dehydration, whilst 15% cited reducing the possibility of long-term physical health problems such as alcoholic liver disease. Interestingly, these reasons are also the most popular amongst both men and women, with subtle differences in the percentages, with 37% for men and 34% of women, and were both equal for socializing without excessive drinking at 24%. Whilst in the change from last year, men were significantly more likely to cite health concerns or current medical reasons, That's 31% men compared to 21% of women. In terms of those who do not currently drink low and no alcohol alternatives, the most common reasons that they cite for not having tried them yet are that they rather not drink any product that resembles alcohol, which was cited by 23%, and also 12% said, I don't think that I would like the taste, which is perhaps a historical and misconception in terms of when low and no first started compared to where it is today. In terms of the age breakdown of those citing different reasons for consuming low and no products, being able to drive home, followed by socializing without drinking excessively, are the most popular specific reasons amongst all age groups except those 18 to 24. Although, as you can see by the graph, particular emphasis does vary by age. And then for those aged 18 to 24, their main reasons for drinking low and no products were that it's cheaper, cited by 23%, and socializing without excessive drinking was second for them as well at 22%. So then, as you can see from the graph on the screen, amongst older age groups, 46% of those aged over 55 cite being able to drive home as a primary reason for low and no consumption compared to only 10% of those aged 18 to 24. Meanwhile, collective health concerns or current medical reasons were also a significant concern across all age groups, with middle-aged adults being more likely to cite this compared to those who are older or younger, ranging from almost 2/5 of those aged 35 to 44 compared to just under a fifth of those aged 55 plus. This again marks a shift from previous surveys in which younger generations were found to be the most health conscious. In terms of when the public drink low and no alcohol alternatives, of those that can recall the single most popular occasion to drink them was only when I cannot have a regular strength alcoholic drink, such as when driving, followed by when socializing with friends or family who do not drink. These were cited by 28 and 17% of respondents respectively. Meanwhile, just 4% said that they only drank low and no alcohol alternatives as a commitment to a period of abstinence, showing these products are for all year round and not just in dry January. Only when I cannot have a regular strength alcoholic drink, i.e. when driving, was also the most popular reason for all age groups except the 18 to 24-year-olds, who cited when socializing with friends and family who do not drink. And in terms of national breakdowns across England, Wales and Scotland, all of them cited only when I can have a regular strength alcoholic drink as the main reason for drinking alcohol alternatives. Moving on to where the public drink low and no alcohol alternatives, the most popular locations to drink remains in pubs and bars, cited by almost 2/5, 39% of respondents, followed by 32% saying in restaurants and 17% saying at events such as theatres, festivals, and concerts, all of which highlight the importance of availability of alcohol alternatives in a wide range of hospitality settings. Meanwhile, 31% of alcohol alternative drinkers said they drink them at home socially with friends or family, followed by 23% drinking them out at a friend or family member's house, which underscores the social nature of these products. And in terms of the gender breakdowns, both men and women prefer drinking these products out in pubs and bars, with 42% of men and 37% of women, with at home socially with friends or family equally popular amongst men and women, both at 31%. So incentivizing low and no alcohol uptake. So the most popular reason or answer, amongst UK adults, which would support increasing their availability, increasing their low and no intake, would the most popular reason cited was greater availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces, such as nightclubs, theatres, and cinemas, at 30%, which draws attention to the wide variety of spaces consumers want to drink these products, in addition to the more traditional spaces such as pubs and bars. This is closely followed by the use of price promotion in supermarkets and other retailers at 29%, underscoring how price conscious UK consumers are. And the third most common reason was increasing availability on tap and draft, cited by 28%, highlighting how UK consumers want to see these products as a visible option wherever an alcoholic drink is being sold. In terms of the differences between men and women ranked availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces as the highest option, further incentivizing uptake at 34%, whilst men believe greater availability on draft or tap is the most incentivizing reason for them at 31%. And both men and women put greater use of price promotion in supermarkets and other retailers as the second most important reason that could increase their uptake of low and no, 27% for men and 31% of women. And in terms of the national breakdowns, English, Scottish, and Welsh adults all agreed that availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces is the best way to incentivize low and no alcohol consumption. And in terms of the age breakdown, all of those aged 18 to 44 cited availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces as the most likely reason for them to increase their low and no alcohol uptake, whilst those aged 45 plus by the use of price promotions to incentivize greater uptake of these products. Meanwhile, those aged 18 to 55 said that their availability on tap and draft would be their second best option for increasing their uptake, whilst those aged 55 and over said availability in non-traditional hospitality venues would be the second best option. And similarly to this, those aged 18 to 34 put price promotion third best, those aged 35 to 44 and 55 plus put availability on tap and draft third, and those aged 45 to 54 put availability in non-traditional hospitality spaces third. It's also important to ensure that people feel comfortable drinking low and no products, as this is likely to incentivize their uptake further as well. Currently, 30% of those who have consumed low and no products say that they've at some point felt judged for drinking a low and no option instead of an alcoholic drink. Thankfully, only 2% say that this happens regularly, with 10% saying it happens occasionally and 17% saying it occurs rarely. Despite this, just 1% of adults who do not currently drink low and no alcohol products said that they are concerned they would be judged by others if they consume them. And in terms of the age breakdown, the group who have felt judged the most for drinking low and no alcohol alternatives are those aged 18 to 34 at 44%, followed by those aged 35 to 44 at 32%. Meanwhile, those aged 55 plus feel the least judged at 19%, followed by those aged 45 to 54 at 28%. This underscores how there is still work to be done to further normalise these products and educate people about the reasons why their friends or colleagues may choose to drink a low and no product instead of an alcoholic one.
And I'll let Jacob rest his voice for a minute after all those stats,
Thank you.
and take you through the questions at the back of the survey in terms of concerns around those underage. We asked this for the first time this year, mainly reflecting that there is really not a lot of data out there on this. People haven't asked these questions, and it's coming to the fore with the 10-year health plan and government proposals in this area. So we wanted to understand a little bit more about this. So, we're clear that low and alcohol alternatives are adult products and should only be marketed and sold to those over 18. We have guidance on the marketing here, but also we recognize that retailers and those in hospitality have long enforced Challenge 25 for all these products. So really want to understand and ask a question this year to those adults. When was the first time you tried low and no products? And overwhelmingly, as the graph you can see on screen shows, it is over 18. Just 7% of adults who had first tried them before the age of 18. That's 4% under, 4% between 16 and 17, and 3% 15 and under. So it kind of really does go to show that these products are being used exclusively for their intended purpose.
Can I ask a quick question on that,
Of
actually?
course.
It'd be really good to know how many young people under 18 try alcohol for the first time, because I suspect it's a lot higher than this. So the first time that young people try alcohol, and compare that, because that also will help us prove that these aren't gateway products.
Of course, and yeah, we do have that data, and we
Yeah.
compare it to government data, and that's been declining and consistently for decades now. But if I recall, the last data from NHS England was, I think, and Kelly and other people might be able to correct me on this. I think it was around 39% to 40% of under 18s had ever tried an alcohol product. So that means having a drink of alcohol below the age of 18, and that obviously it takes into account people 15 or around as well. So it's interesting. And we broke up that data as well, 15 and under and 16, 17, obviously aligning with the Licensing Act, because obviously there's different rules in terms of alcohol consumption. So yes, it is. To your point, Laura, that this is vanishingly small compared to those who are drinking alcohol under 18. And even that is, again, declining and collapsed in recent years. Jacob, do you want to go on the next slide? We also wanted to know what adult awareness and concern around this in terms of British teenage behaviour. Obviously, it will take government time to enact any bans in this area, but what are the concerns around the British public? And as Jacob highlighted at the beginning, it is very much around illicit drug use and vaping, both at 64%. And alcohol, is interesting, is much lower, at about 40%. And yeah, low and no alcohol, vanishingly small, around about 9% there. So it is interesting. This really isn't on people's radar. Jacob, do you want to go next slide? So really a few conclusions, and then we'd like to open it up. I'm very conscious we've thrown a lot of statistics at you over the past half an hour or more, but I think a lot of this reinforces kind of what we already knew. These are, especially over the last 8 years of doing this survey, low and no products are being overwhelmingly used by alcohol drinkers as a tool to help further moderation and responsible drinking behaviors. It's very interesting. Every single year, people saying, "I'm using this to moderate my drinking. I'm using this to avoid things like drink driving," which feeds into sort of government priorities in this area about tackling drink driving, promoting moderation. And we think then it's important because they should feed into public health campaigns here, and the government should these are an important tool and to meet consumers where they are. And but we also realize that consumers want more from this. They're all price in this economy. They're increasingly price conscious. People want these products to maybe be a bit cheaper, but that just reflects that people want to see these products more. They want to see these products more in non-traditional areas. Wherever an alcohol products are sold, they'll also like to see a low and no alternative, and they'd like to see it on tap. So it's that availability. And over the last 8 years of doing this, we just keep seeing an upward trend in interest. Jacob, do you want the next slide, please? So yes, it is. They can play an important role, but they're not a silver bullet on their own. We will take further steps to encourage moderation and responsible drinking. But yeah, as I said, I think this is an important opportunity here for low and no to be used in existing public health campaigns. We welcome seeing it in campaigns from the government, such as the Think anti-drink driving campaign. But what other opportunities could there be? We also, align with Laura about updating low and no alcohol product descriptors and we'd very much like to see this done. I know there's probably going to be a third consultation on this very soon, but we would very much like to, we see this as an easy win-win all around to, for us all to have our public health goals here. And, we will be responding to the consultation on restrictions to under 18s, but we also, again, highlighting that people in this area, producers in this area, and retailers already doing the right thing, both ensuring their products don't appeal to under 18s and also enforcing sales bans here. And I think this is as I said, this is a win-win, and we believe there should be more partnership working here. So yeah, I will open the floor to questions. See a few more have already come in, and I can see in the chat in terms of did we break this down geographically? Yes, we did quite consistently. Very much they aligned with the overall views with only small tweaks. I think where it was interesting, we highlighted it in our full research report, which is freely available on our website. And in terms of did we break down consumption by product type? No, we did not. So we just used the overall description of what's low alcohol and below, which is 1.2% ABV. So it was capturing everything below that when we didn't disaggregate that between two different categories, obviously aligning with where the current descriptors are. But if other questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them.
Cool. There's another question. Any more questions? You picked up the one, sorry, in the chat.
Sorry, I'm too proactive on that.
So yeah, sorry, Julian from Anon Drinks. David, you kindly answered about it was my query about London versus the provinces. I was particularly interested in terms of the reasons people are choosing low no, particularly in terms of it being a driving decision as opposed to a health and moderation, and whether did you notice anything geographically there in terms of in London where probably public transport is more prevalent as opposed to out in the provinces or out in the country, or was it fairly consistent across the whole of the UK, or have you not got that data?
We do have data. I'd have to double check for accuracy, but I believe again, drink driving was still quite prevalent. In avoiding drink driving as a reason was still prevalent in London compared to other places. But as I said, I think it's a very consistent response, both across age categories and across provinces, regionally, I should say. Followed by socialization. I think it's slightly different. The key difference here wasn't geographic, it was age, and those in the younger age group, the youngest age group, were more likely to cite health concerns and socialization above drink driving. And maybe that just reflects different priorities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to ask any questions? We've got 5 minutes, so we can ask a few more if you have any. I will send the slides out and the recording out to everyone. Oh, no more questions. They did those. So I think it's really useful for us because we've been doing some work on the gateway theory. So some of the data in there is really helpful. And some of it will also be really helpful in building the manifesto for the sector and looking at ways not only around descriptors, but the way that the government can support the sector. So that's really helpful. Some of you may also find other sources of data around at some points that you think might be useful. Do feel free to send them to Club Soda because we collate them and we'll begin to put them in a members area for brand members. So you've got access to them for your own purposes in terms of looking at what you do with your brand, but also in terms of looking for investment and those sorts of things as well. Does anyone have any questions for Club Soda while you're here? No. Well, you know how to get hold of us anyway, so that's fine. So I'm going to send out the recordings afterwards. Thank you all for being here, and thank you Portman Group for doing that. It's really handy. I always find it more useful to do a session like this and try and read a report because that's the way that my brain works. So I'm sure that's great for other people too. Brilliant.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your lunch.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheers, Laura. Nice to see you. Cheers.
Yeah, bye.